Have you ever met someone who just seems to move through life with this effortless charm? I'm not talking about the rehearsed, strategic kind. I mean, the type that just seems to spill out of them, completely natural, unbothered, and disarmingly human. These are the people who make you feel lighter just by being around them, often without even trying. They're the ones who laugh without measuring how it sounds, who might stumble in a conversation but somehow make the silence feel warm instead of awkward. We all know someone like this. That friend who brightens up a room without saying much, or a stranger who turns a simple, passing moment into something oddly unforgettable. But underneath that lightness, there's something deeper happening, a quiet psychological magic that most of us never even notice. Here's the secret. Effortless charm isn't actually effortless. It's the result of a paradox. The paradox of the fool. Not a fool in the foolish sense, but the archetypal fool, the one who doesn't take themselves too seriously, who is comfortable enough to be imperfect in a world obsessed with image. The fool's approach to charm isn't about performance. It's about permission. The permission to be seen exactly as we are. The fool doesn't try to impress people. They invite connection. They don't chase approval. They inspire comfort. And that's where the psychology begins to unfold. Modern psychology has a concept called the Benign Violation Theory. It's a fancy term, but it basically means we're drawn to people who can bend the rules of normal social behavior just enough to surprise us without making us uncomfortable. The fool lives in that delicate space. They break the invisible codes of seriousness with humor, self-awareness, and a sense of play. They remind us that humanity was never meant to be perfect. In their presence, our guard drops, because it already has. Charm, at its very core, isn't about adding more to yourself. It's not about more confidence, more wit, or more polish. It's actually about subtraction. It's about removing the masks, the scripts, and the constant self-monitoring. We all do. The people who seem the most charming are often just the ones who stopped trying to perform the role of a charming person. Their ease creates ease in others, and that's why we lean in. Not because they sparkle brighter, but because they feel real in a world full of filters. Psychologists call this phenomena emotional contagion. We subconsciously mirror the emotional state of those around us. If someone radiates calm, we start to feel calm. If they carry anxiety, we sense it. Effortless charm is rooted in self-regulation, the ability to feel truly comfortable in your own skin. This isn't arrogance. It's a sense of inner safety. And that feeling of safety is magnetic. When someone is grounded enough to let their imperfections show, it sends a signal to our nervous system that says, "You're safe here, too." It's ironic, isn't it? So many of us chase charm as if it's a skill to be mastered, a secret code to be cracked. But charm dies the very moment it becomes a performance. You can't fake relaxation while you're actively trying to be relaxed. You can't simulate spontaneity while you're rehearsing your lines. The fool understands this instinctively. Their charm isn't in the act, but in the surrender. They don't overthink what to say next because they aren't trying to win anyone's approval. That unguarded authenticity is what people find so captivating. There's a strange freedom in not needing to be impressive. Studies in social psychology often point to something called the Pratfall Effect. This effect suggests that people who are generally competent become even more likable when they make small, harmless mistakes. Things like spilling coffee on themselves, forgetting a line in a speech, and then just laughing it off. These moments humanize them. The fool lives inside that effect. They stumble with grace. They fail with laughter. And in doing so, they unlock something incredibly powerful. Relatability is one of the deepest currencies of charm. When someone seems to perfect, we might admire them, but it's usually from a distance. When someone feels human, we trust them. Effortless charm is simply trust made visible. It sends a message to the world. I'm not perfect, but I'm okay with that. And suddenly, everyone else in the room feels okay too. But there's another layer to the fool's approach. Humility. And I don't mean false modesty or pretending to be small. True humility is the understanding that everyone is a mirror reflecting different shades of our own humanity. The fool doesn't try to dominate a room. They dance with it. They notice people. They listen deeply. They respond to the energy in the room, not just their own ego. That's the quiet art behind their presence. They know that charm isn't something you broadcast. It's something you build in the spaces between people. In conversations, they do something subtle but incredibly powerful. They let moments breathe. They don't rush to fill every silence, because silence doesn't scare them. They don't just listen for their turn to reply. They listen to truly feel what the other person is saying. And that difference is everything. Most people think speaking well makes you charming, but in truth, being present doesn't. The fool's mind isn't busy calculating the next move, it's observing. They find humor in the unnoticed details, depth in the ordinary, and light in moments that most people rush right past. Effortless charm often looks like play, and play is one of the most underestimated psychological forces in human connection. As we grow into adults, genuine play becomes rare, almost suspicious. We learn to equate seriousness with intelligence and spontaneity with recklessness. But play signals confidence. The kind of confidence that says, I'm not afraid to be seen enjoying my life. That energy draws people in because it taps into something ancient within us. The joy of shared curiosity. The fool doesn't just entertain. They awaken something childlike in others. That brief suspension of fear where we remember how to simply exist in the moment. Yet, there's a real depth behind the laughter. The fool isn't naive. They're brave. It takes courage to be open in a world that so often rewards control. To smile without calculation, to joke without a safety net, to risk being misunderstood. That is emotional exposure. In psychological terms, it's vulnerability, but not the kind that begs for sympathy. It's vulnerability wrapped in strength. It's the willingness to say, here I am, without needing the world to clap for it. And this brings us to one of the most profound truths about charm. It is less about attraction and more about permission. When you encounter someone who is effortlessly charming, what you're really feeling is the freedom they grant you. The freedom to be yourself, to be imperfect, to be human. Their ease gives you permission to find your own. So the next time you feel the pressure to be charming, maybe try a different approach. Instead of adding more, try subtracting. Take off the mask. Let go of the script. Embrace the paradox of the fool. Stop trying to be charming, and you might just become it. Thanks so much for watching. If this resonated with you, love it. If you hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. See you in the next one.